Ladies and gentlemen, the term miscarriage of justice is often presented when a criminal is punished and their supporters don't really want to accept it. However, there are legitimate times when miscarriage of justice has been used. And I think that one of the earliest final appeals cases of Unsolved Mysteries is one of those perfect examples of miscarriage of justice. I present to you the case of Michael Martin. In early 1979, Michael Martin and his friend, who were under the influence of alcohol, decided that they would go and eat Polish sausages and chips in a grocery store. Call it whatever you want, it's still theft. It wasn't until they were confronted with what they did that Michael Martin paid for the food. Should have been the end of the issue, right? Nope. The store manager decided to have them be held until the police arrived. This caused a conflict with Michael Martin and the management of the store, during which incident a knife was brandished. After the knife was brandished, Michael and his friend quickly ran out to their vehicle. Michael Martin decided to play the "Hey guys, watch as I do something incredibly stupid and possibly deadly" as he continues to face plant into the concrete. When he decides that he reaches into the vehicle, he pulls out a loaded pistol and shoots it into the air above his pursuers. Because of this, Michael Martin was sentenced to 4 years probation. 2 weeks later, a gas station was held up. The person who was on duty at the gas station claims that the person who held up the gas station was Michael Martin. Michael Martin was arrested after being identified in a picture lineup. Michael Martin claims that he could not have committed the crime. You know, this is the same defense that a lot of criminals like to use. Michael Martin's defense: he was over 70 miles away at a place called Lake Worth, which is also in Texas. 5 people, not 1 or 2 or 3, but 5. 5 people claim that they saw Michael Martin at the lake during the time that the armed robbery, happened. A police officer who was instrumental in helping identify Michael Martin during the store incident also claimed to have seen Michael Martin. Is this an issue of mistaken identity, or is this an issue with people who have an axe to grind against Michael Martin? I can't tell you what to think. All I can do is present to you the evidence, and it is up to you to make that final decision. If you were to ask me, ladies and gentlemen, I would say that something is not adding up here. But ultimately, it's not up to me. It ultimately falls upon you, the viewer, about what the truth ultimately is. Okay, I got the headphones on. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1.
July 14th.
Okay, the one thing right off the bat I have to say that I love is they just started with the ambiance, the music. I know you can't really see it that well in the video here because I have to have it kind of made transparent due to copyright issues. However, you can watch this on their YouTube channel. The information is right above you. It is season 1, episode 1, case number 2. Anyway, I love everything about the start of this video, the music, the ambiance. It's that season 1 goodness that they were really known for back in the day.
1979, the Dallas suburb of Garland, Texas. At 7 p.m., a man entered a gas station office and drew a gun on Doyle, the attendant, who was closing up for the day.
When he first came in the door, and he was shaking the gun at me, telling me he'd kill me, goddamn, he'd kill me. And then I realized it was all for real.
Now, if this was Michael Martin, then he needs to fucking pay. But as we're going to find out throughout this video, the road to justice is very curved and it has a lot of potholes.
The incident took 10 minutes, but Doyle's key eyewitness testimony would eventually put a man in prison for life.
I don't think that you ever really get over something like that happens to you. And if you had a...
Okay, now this is something that just pissed me off ever since I watched this case when I was younger. Doyle is adamant. He is positive that it was Michael Martin that held up the gas station. No doubt at all. It was Michael Martin. If you're so sure that you helped put away a criminal, if you're so sure that you made the community safer by going after this criminal, you made a stand. You took a stand, ladies and or he took a stand, ladies and gentlemen. He took a stand. He made it known that I am not going to be pushed around. I am going to stand up against I'm going to stand up against a person who terrorized me, basically. If that's the case, why is Doyle in silhouette? Why is he using a fake name? You would think that you would want to be, known for doing something brave and good. To me, and it isn't just Doyle. Don't think I'm singling out just Doyle. Every time I see somebody in silhouette, a part of me thinks that they are hiding something. I am the type of person that needs to see the person that is talking in order to basically judge if they're telling me the truth or not. When you have a person in silhouette, when you have a fake name, because as you can see here, it isn't Doyle, it's Doyle in quotations, which means it's an alias. It makes me kind of wonder if this is legitimate or not.
45 stuck in your face and somebody was telling you they was going to kill you. It's something that stick with you the rest of your life, and you never forget the person that does it.
Doyle identified his attacker as Michael Scott Martin, a 26-year-old welder. 5 other witnesses, however...
Oh, geez, I didn't even realize... Oh, crap. I'm going to have to go and fix this because I have MARTAIN. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I just had to do a quick edit of the card behind me. I didn't even realize until I was looking up at it during this portion of the video. Let's continue on, shall we?
Swore that Michael Scott Martin could not have robbed the gas station. They claim he spent the whole day at his home, 70 miles away.
Okay, so as you just heard here, he could not have committed the robbery because during the time the robbery was done, he was 70 miles away.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm at my house in Fort Worth working on a motorcycle, and they're saying I'm robbing a gas station in Garland. And I've never robbed anything in my life, and I never will.
This is one of the times I'm pretty evident, I like to think that when it comes to some of these cases, you can look at somebody and be like, yeah, that guy's guilty. That guy is guilty. oh god, there was a case. I can't recall the name of the individuals. I think one of them was named Cynthia Brito. But anyway, the case involved a lady who had, I think it was Parkinson's disease. She had Parkinson's disease, and she was basically in a real bad custody battle for her child, to just get visitation and everything. Well, her and her, I think it was her, a friend, and a daughter, possibly. They were dropped off at a Walmart. The father of her child, his family, claimed they don't know what happened. I could literally look at those people that were in that video and be like, yeah, they're fucking guilty. They were guilty. And come to find out, they were guilty. This is one of those situations. I look at Michael Martin and I can think, yeah, he shot that gun above those people's heads. Jesus Christ, Jeff. Anyway, he used a pistol in a very dangerous manner. But I don't think he held up this gas station. I just don't. I do not think he held it up. I personally believe, now it's just me, ladies and gentlemen, I think that it is a little bit of a railroad job. I think that the police officer who arrested him originally and everything, I think he just has an axe to grind, to be honest. But let's continue on.
Michael Martin, Detective Dennis Wheatley.
Michael Martin was arrested, tried, and convicted of armed robbery.
Need you to place your hands on that wall for me.
Because of a previous arrest, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole until 1999.
Now, keep in mind, we have like the 3 strikes you're out rule in Washington State. This wasn't even a case of that. This was like literally 2 strikes and you're done. He committed his first crime in early 1979, and then he did this crime, supposedly did this crime in mid to late 1979. And then he was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole till 1999. 20 years later, that's how long he had to wait, ladies and gentlemen.
Martin has already served 8 years and still maintains he's innocent. Tonight, he makes a final appeal.
I'm about to the point of giving up. I am innocent. I've gone all the way to the Supreme Court fighting this.
They should have looked at the fact that there was 5 people that saw him at his home 70 miles away during the time that this crime was committed. Now, I'm not saying that, that they all lied or anything. Granted, you may get 1 or 2 people, most likely the friends, could possibly lie to save their friend. But 3 of the 5 people were strangers. They didn't even know Michael Martin. They lived near the house that Michael Martin lived at. Why would a total of 5 people lie for a guy who looks like he holds no real social power at all? It isn't like that this is some mob boss who's going to be like, hey, I hear you're going to testify against me. You may not want to do that if you value your kneecaps. It isn't a situation like that, ladies and gentlemen. This guy literally looks like he is pretty harmless. Yeah, he shot a gun, but if you look at this guy and then you look at somebody like fucking a member of the Genoveses, is that what they pronounce? Or one of the mob families. Who are you going to take more as a threat?
And I just keep hoping and praying that there's a way, and I'll find it. And one day I'll prove that I didn't rob that gas station.
Now, well, I do not recall, and we may find out through this video, did they ever give this guy a lie detector test? Granted, it's not admissible in court, but still, at least give us an idea if he's telling the truth or not.
The case against Michael Martin was based entirely on eyewitness identification that placed him at the scene of the crime. There was never any physical evidence connecting Martin to the robbery.
No physical evidence. I think he's going to say no fingerprints. No, besides Doyle, the Doyle, the guy who was there. No other people. I don't recall any other people seeing Michael Martin at the gas station. There was no video evidence, ladies and gentlemen. You got to remember, this is during the time that closed circuit television was still in its infancy. It was out there, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is nowadays.
No fingerprints were found.
No fingerprints. So basically, all you really have here, ladies and gentlemen, you have Doyle's word. You have Doyle's word. And for me, that's not enough. I need evidence. I need physical evidence. I need fucking fingerprints. I need video evidence. I need eyewitness testimonials. I need, if possible, a lie detector test. To me, this is a good case of miscarriage of justice. There was also another case of a miscarriage of justice. I wish I could remember these names. I don't. But there was a case of a doctor, if I remember correctly. I think it was a doctor who came home one day just before Christmas, if I remember correctly, and his wife was brutally murdered. And they blamed the doctor for her murder. I'm not saying that, miscarriages don't happen. They do, but I think that they're overused, basically.
The money was never recovered, and the gun still hasn't been located. Martin insists that he has been wrongly imprisoned. Michael Martin had a clean record until he was 26 years old. In 1979, 7 months before the gas station robbery, he was arrested after an altercation in a supermarket. Michael and a friend had been drinking and were seen eating Polish sausage and potato chips from a supermarket's shelves. When the manager threatened to call the police, Michael panicked.
We paid for everything in there.
The incident escalated into violence.
Stay right here. I'm going to contact the police. We're not staying anywhere. I tell you what, here's your lousy money, all right? We paid for everything. No, I don't think so. I want you to wait right here.
See, this is where I think that a mistake was made. Now, it's just me. I'm not a legal expert, so don't. If you're coming to me and be like, Jeff, what should I do? I'm in trouble. What should I do? No, you don't. I'm not a legal expert, okay? But the fact is, Michael Martin, according to this testimony, because to those who do not watch this show, basically, or are new to this show, basically what it is that they will go and interview and they get testimony of everybody who's involved. So somebody told the production crew of Unsolved Mysteries that Michael Martin threw down the money. He threw down the money. What they should have done was basically take the money, count it, make sure that, the money is enough to cover everything that they ate plus what they're wanting to buy. They should have allowed that to happen and then given him, basically say, hey, you're banned from the store. You're banned from this store. It happens all the time here where I live in Kelso, Washington. People will do shit and they get banned from stores all the time. And if they come back, they then get the police called and then there will be a no trespassing order placed against them. However, I feel that by basically putting these guys in the corner, it caused Michael Martin to lash out. I'm not condoning what he did, but I think that this whole situation here as a whole was handled incredibly poorly on both sides. Michael Martin and his friend had no fucking right to be, eating food without paying for it. But the manager of this store, I'm not sure if he thought he was being some sort of Superman, trying to get on the 6:30 news, NBC News or whatever you want to call it, and be like, hey, I stopped this robber. I'm a Superman. He handled it poorly also.
You want some of this? You want some of this? You want some?
Come on, man.
I don't really know why I pulled the knife. I guess it was just a desire to get out of the door.
Let's get out of here.
I'm drunk. I'm feeling a little crazy. I'd been hassling with this manager, and I was tired of it.
Big mistake right there. His first mistake was using that knife. But the fact that he pulled out a pistol and he fired it. He fired that pistol into the air. If that one of those bullets, let's say under some weird fucking act of God, ladies and gentlemen, let's say he lowered his hand or his arm just enough when he went to fire. It hit a part of metal that's part of that awning that's above their head, and it ricocheted and killed one of those people that was following him outside. He would have been convicted of manslaughter. He would have been convicted of manslaughter, ladies and gentlemen. What he did, you know, it was fucking stupid. It was fucking stupid. And you're going to hear his reaction to here, and it does not hold any water with me, or any weight, or whatever you want to call it.
I fired it well over their heads. I wasn't meaning to hurt anybody.
You still fired a gun.
Adolescent stunt that
You were 26 years old. 26 years old. You do not have you do not have the card. You cannot play the card, oh, the adolescent stunt. You stop being an adolescent once you, in my eyes, you stop being an adolescent once you hit like 18, 19. You were 26 years old. You were 26 years old. No, that does not count anymore. You fucked up.
I never should have. You know, I was 26 years old then. I shouldn't have been out shooting up the town like that. It just didn't make any sense.
I wouldn't call placing knives or shooting at people a prank.
He didn't say it was a prank. He said it was a stupid. What was it? A stupid stunt or he said he was adolescent. I wouldn't say. I don't recall him saying it was a prank though. But anyway,
It's a pretty serious offense.
You don't expect somebody to get outrageously angry when they're asked to pay for something that they're eating inside a store. I don't think that should lead to the kind of reaction on Michael's part that he obviously had.
and I agree. But the fact is, what this I think he was the attorney. What the district attorney failed to say was Michael Martin did attempt to pay for the food. Yeah, he was confronted with it, but he attempted to pay for the food. I personally feel that goddamn manager who basically went to try to be the Good Samaritan of the year, he wanted, he made the situation all the worse. All the worse. He could have accepted the money that Michael Martin threw down, and basically gave him, said, "You're banned from the store. Do not come here again, or we will have you. We will press no trespassing on you." That's within his right.
There was testimony that he was intoxicated at the time, but still, an intoxicated person who would go to that lengths to avoid paying for a Polish sausage, you have to wonder about.
Martin pleaded guilty to assault with a deadly weapon. He was fined and given 4 years probation. At 7 p.m. on July 14, 1979, just 2 weeks after Martin's probation began, the gas station was robbed.
Do I think that the station was robbed? Yeah, I do. I do believe the station was robbed. I just don't think that it was Michael Martin that did it. I just do not think that it was Michael Martin that did it. I think what we have here is, like I said, I think we have a police officer who already dealt with Michael Martin. We have Doyle, whoever the fuck Doyle is. You'll see in this video here that the police officer, when he's showing Doyle the lineup, if I remember correctly, when he points out Michael Martin, he says, "Yeah, I think that's him." The police officer then goes and says, "You think that it's him, or you're sure that it's him?" And to me, that's a little bit leading. He's leading the witness, and to me, I'm not really sure if that's something that he should be doing. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not sure if that is seen as okay, but to me, I can't help but think like he's directing Doyle.
The gunman stole over $400, then fled the scene of the crime in a car he'd stolen from Doyle, the attendant. 15 minutes later, at 7:15 p.m., a police unit spotted the stolen car outside a nearby apartment building.
Now, are there fingerprints? I think that they say there are no fingerprints. So once again, we have, no fingerprints, no evidence to link Michael Martin to this crime. We are basically being asked to punish somebody solely based on what somebody said.
Where Martin had lived until only a month before.
Just because Michael Martin lived in that lived in that location doesn't mean that it was him that did it. Hell, it's the equivalent. Let's see what I went and I threw eggs. No, let's change it up. I threw a package full of feces, full of just the dirtiest shit, like corn-filled shit that I could have had. I had Taco Bell, let's say. I got pissed off at the mayor of Kelso. I took a Ziploc bag and I chucked it. I fucking chucked it at the door of the mayor. And then, or somebody that looks like me that did it. I left on a BMX bike. That's right, my fat ass rode a BMX bike. They found it at this apartment where I lived up until a month later. Or a month before, whatever, It doesn't mean that simply because I lived here, that it's proof that I did it, like you need, I'm trying to say is you need more evidence. You need more evidence. I know I'm not the best of giving examples. I don't deny that.
At approximately 7:25 p.m., Detective Wheatley, who'd investigated the supermarket incident, claims he saw Michael Scott Martin in his blue Camaro 3 blocks from the gas station.
As he came through the intersection, he looked at me, and I looked at him and knew him from the previous offense. And I said,
okay, I think this is the police officer here who had a little bit of axe to grind.
To myself, that's Michael Scott Martin. He came close enough to me that I could have reached over the top of my motorcycle and slapped him. Doyle, I'm going to show you a stack of photographs here. What I'd like you to do is look through them and see if you see an individual in here that you recognize.
Okay.
Wheatley asked to be assigned to the robbery case. The following day, he showed the victim, Doyle, a series of mugshots.
He's the type of witness that you wish you had on every case that you worked. His intensity, his quick reaction to picking Michael Scott Martin made him a good witness.
I think this is the guy who robbed me.
I think this is the guy who robbed me. I think this is the guy that robbed me. Does that sound like somebody who's absolutely sure of what happened?
You think that's the man, or are you sure that's the man?
You think that's the man, or are you sure that's the man? This is testimony that was given to the producers of Unsolved Mysteries. I'm sorry, but to me it sounds like he is leading. He is leading this witness. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not. I don't claim to be. But I'm hearing this and I think he is trying to direct. He is trying to direct Doyle. He is trying to direct Doyle in the direction of where he wants him to go. And to me, that's not right. That's not right. Also, the fact that, he's already dealt with Michael Martin once, to me, wouldn't that be some sort of, he has like a personal connection to this case, and maybe he should not be allowed to be participating in this case?
Oh, sure.
Michael Martin was arrested, charged with aggravated armed robbery, and held without bail.
It's a depressing experience, but I felt like I would prove my innocence. I mean, I didn't rob this gas station. I knew I didn't rob this gas station. I thought I had sufficient proof in just having people that knew where I was at.
This is the thing that really just sticks in the back of my head. That I just cannot understand. Literally 70 miles away, working on his motorcycle. And I can't help but reiterate it. Five people claim that they saw Michael Martin outside at the time of the robbery while he was working on his motorcycle. Like, okay, if you don't want to hear like my opinions, fine, that's okay. But let's look at what has been said here. No fingerprints, no visual evidence, photos, video. The cash has not been recovered. We're supposed to believe no fingerprints, no cash, no video, Doyle's testimony, but we cannot accept or we cannot consider the fact that 5 people saw Michael Martin as he was working on his motorcycle. I'm sorry, it feels like this is a goddamn miscarriage of justice. The guy's being railroaded, ladies and gentlemen.
Martin claimed he was at Lake Worth, 70 miles away from Garland, at the time of the robbery. 5 separate witnesses, 3 of whom hardly knew Martin, substantiated his claim. Their testimony was the crux of Martin's defense.
The day that they say the robbery happened, I worked on my car and he worked on his motorcycle. And other than about 2 hours that afternoon, between, I don't know, I think it was around 2 to 4 o'clock, when he ran for parts, he was here at all times. From the time he got up in the morning to the time he went to bed at night, he was here.
Okay, I don't think they said what the time was that the robbery happened, but still, you would have to think, it's at least, let's see here. Let's do a little bit of research, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do some research, because that's one thing I like to do. I like to do research when it comes to these types of cases from Unsolved Mysteries. Here, let me get it. Okay, boom. Oh, hold on. There we go. Let's see. Let's pull up maps.google.com. If it'll work. I don't know what it is, but goddamn Microsoft Edge, it has become shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier. Okay, Garland, Texas. Wait, is it Garland, Texas? Oh, Glenn. Jeez, Jim. Garland, Texas. Oh God, where was it? Hold on, let me pull it up. Lake Worth, I think that's what it was. Lake Worth. I think they said it was Lake Worth, Texas. Hold on. Lake Worth, Texas. Yeah, Lake Worth, Texas. Okay, so I'm not sure. Maybe the routes have changed. Maybe they added the highway between 1979 and 2025. But we have, depending on the route you go, the 2 common routes here. You have 52 miles and 54 miles. Still. Oh God. Going at, let's see, it's between 58 minutes and 1 hour 7 minutes. Now, they claim, the friends who are staying with Michael Martin at his house, they were going to watch Battlestar Galactica. It'll be mentioned in a few minutes here in the video. The question is, what time did Battlestar Galactica start? You know, it's like I I just don't think that this guy did it. There's no, we are literally being asked to believe that Michael Martin committed this crime, even though there's no evidence to show it. But we are also at the same time being asked to not believe that he's innocent, even though there are 5 people saying that they saw Michael Martin 70 miles away at Lake Worth. No, I do not believe it. I do not believe it. I just cannot believe it. Okay, here, let's go back to this.
He was there with me and with George at the time he was accused of robbing this gas station. He just couldn't have done it. He just didn't do it.
When I left my house, it was after 6, before 6:30, and I saw Mike out in front of his house. I don't remember what he's doing. It seems like he's working on his motorcycle. I don't know, but he was here. And after finding out what the circumstances were and what day it was, I was surprised to see that Mike was arrested because I knew I'd seen him so close to the time that the crime was supposed to be committed.
And now, keep in mind, now, granted, this witness said he cannot exactly recall what, or did not recall, or whatever it was, what Michael Martin was doing, but he remembered seeing Michael Martin there. Oh, hold on. Lights just turned off. Goddamn, whatchamacallit, goddamn schedule. I should have fixed it. I'm sorry, guys. That is my fault. That is my fault. There it goes. Thank you. But did you notice that nobody so far said seeing Michael Martin's blue Camaro? Nobody said anything about seeing that vehicle at his house? Where's the blue Camaro at, ladies and gentlemen?
It takes well over an hour to drive from here to Garland.
Which I just showed. 54 miles at 1 hour, 7 minutes.
I saw him around 6 o'clock, and there's no way he would have had time to leave and commit this crime by 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock Saturday night. I remember it real well because there was a television show that I wanted to catch. It was Battlestar Galactica, so I made sure that at 7 o'clock I was there in front of the television.
Mike, show's starting.
And Mike came in and watched the show with me. How could he have been at my house at 7 p.m.?
Okay, hold on. I just want to check something. I'm just going to fix the transparency. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Okay, sometimes due to the transparency, I can't see the stuff the best. And I thought, because of the shape of the motorcycle, I thought there could have been a vehicle right there also. Nope, it was a motorcycle. Okay, I thought his Camaro could have been right there. My bad.
If he was in Garland at 7 p.m., 75, 80 miles away.
Michael Martin's trial hinged on the issue of who the jury would believe. The 2 prosecution eyewitnesses or the 5 defense eyewitnesses.
Okay, whoa. 2 prosecution eyewitnesses. Who's that second eyewitness? I recall Doyle. Who else is the person? They may have said, I don't recall though. I do not remember, but I thought Doyle was the only eyewitness. All of a sudden we have a second eyewitness?
The trial was held in the same courtroom where 2 months previously, Michael Martin had received his probation. The turning point came when his supermarket conviction was admitted into the court record, possibly prejudicing the jury against Martin.
This ultimately brings up a good question. Should a person's prior criminal acts, should that be brought up in the sentencing or the jury, should that be brought up in a current case?
I don't know if we could have gotten a guilty conviction in the second offense if the jury had not known about the first offense. I think that works great psychological influence on the jury. I know that my witnesses were positive. I also know that the defense witnesses were positive.
Who, besides Doyle, who is there? The only witnesses the only witnesses I'm thinking that they could be talking about could have been they could have brought the witnesses from the grocery store incident, because I do not recall them saying that there were multiple witnesses during the gas station holdup.
Positive. And it was one of those cases back then when I simply had to put on the case and let the jury make their decision. That's what our system's all about.
It took the jury only 15 minutes to find Michael Martin guilty of armed robbery.
Oh, God, 15 minutes. They say normally the longer the case goes, it's more in your favor because they're debating it and everything. 15 minutes. 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 15 minutes to convict somebody of a crime where there was no fingerprints, no money found, no video, no audio, nothing to identify Michael Martin. All we have here is Doyle's testimony. But, like I said, on the other hand, we also have 5 people who claim that Michael Martin was 70 miles away at Fort Worth, Texas during the time that this incident happened.
They gave him the maximum sentence possible under the law.
Keep in mind, this was not a this was not a third strike issue. They literally did 2 strikes and you're fucking out.
I have to do 20 flat years, which means I can't come up for parole until 1999 because I supposedly took $400 from this gas station. I don't think I got a fair trial.
No, not at all.
If a person is on probation for a felony offense and went out and committed this type of aggravated robbery, no, I don't have any problem with him serving a life sentence for that if he's guilty.
If he's guilty. If he's guilty. But there is no evidence. There's no evidence. If there was fingerprints, if they could find fingerprints, I would be willing to accept the fact that Michael Martin was guilty. Their own admission. No fingerprints. No fingerprints except for what Doyle said. Was there audio? Was there video? No. Was it nothing? Nothing. What you have here is you have Doyle's testimony, and you have a police officer who may or may not be having an axe to grind claim that he was on his motorcycle when all of a sudden he saw Michael Martin's Camaro go blasting through that intersection. Was there any testimony to back up this police officer and his claims or accusations, whatever you want to call it? Here, I'm actually kind of wondering here. Hold on. Let's do this, because I'm actually kind of curious. Difference between accusation, is that accusation and claim? Accusation versus claim. What's the difference? Is that accusation is a formal charge brought against a person in a court of law, while claim is to demand compensation or damage through the courts. Okay, what was the other one that they said? Accusation and allegation. Let's see what that is. The difference between accusation and allegation is as follows. An accusation is a formal charge or claim that someone has committed a crime or wrongdoing, often leading to legal proceedings. Allegation is unproven claim that someone has done something wrong, typically lacking Allegation. That's what this is. This is an allegation, ladies and gentlemen. While an accusation implies guilt, an allegation does not necessarily carry that implication and is often used in civil cases. In summary, an accusation is more definitive and formal, while an allegation is more tentative and requires proof to substantiate it. This is allegation to me. At least this sounds like an allegation. We have Michael Scott Martin, who is basically being, who's being. We have Michael Scott Martin, who basically people are making allegations that he did something. There is no proof. There's no proof. If there was fingerprints, I would have been more willing to believe that Michael Martin committed this crime. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. And the fact that he got 20 years when he also had 5 people claim that he was at his house 70 miles away. You also have an admittance that basically they used the supermarket incident in this court case. That should have had nothing to do with this, in my opinion. It's like me. Let's say when I just turned 17, for example. I decided to go to Tops. There used to be a grocery store here named Tops. I went and I stole a little 5-cent thing of bubblegum. I stole a 5-cent piece of bubblegum. I'm now 43. Oh my God, I'm so fucking old. 43, almost 44. People coming to me and going, Jeff, because you stole that gum, we believe you're the one that threw that shit on the mayor's door. It just, we think you're guilty, and I know that's not the best example, but that's what I could come up with in my fat, bald head.
If he's guilty. Those words have troubled Brad Lawler for 9 years. Could the jury have put a man behind bars who was innocent?
It always bothered me that we were not able to come up with the clincher.
It bothers me that we cannot come up with the clincher. If anything, the way I see it is that shouldn't this have either ended in a hung jury, or shouldn't the case have been dismissed or something? I'm not sure about what all the terms are and what all the conditions that need to be met. But I can't help but think that the judge, he should have looked at this and been like, yeah, this is not right. So there's not enough evidence here. I'm dismissing this case, until further evidence can be found or whatever. It just does not make sense.
There were no fingerprints found at the scene or on the getaway car. No recovery of the stolen items. There was nothing that conclusively tied Michael Martin to the commission of the offense besides the eyewitness testimony. And it's for that reason that I think I always had a little doubt left in my mind about this case.
I'm still...
What pisses me off? What pisses me the fuck off? There have been cases on Unsolved Mysteries that we'll see throughout, this entire series. There have been cases where people have been accused of murder. There has been literal proof that these people have been murdered, that these people have killed people. And they will not charge them because they feel that there's not enough evidence to get a conviction. Not enough evidence to get a conviction. But on some fucking day in 1979 in Garland, Texas, we threw the fucking books out the door. We convicted a person to 20 years in prison with no evidence. No evidence. We will let fucking murderers walk due to the lack of evidence. We literally have a person who literally did not commit this crime. No evidence to show that he committed this crime. Until evidence comes up and shows that he committed this crime, I'm going to believe that he did not commit this crime. We're going to convict somebody of that. But people who most likely killed somebody, they will walk because of lack of evidence. Injustice, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure. Did I put the right man in jail? There's no doubt in my mind then, and there is no doubt in my mind now.
Wait. Hold the fuck up. Doyle, you claimed that you thought that was a guy. It wasn't until that police officer, he said, you think, or are you sure? Don't fucking try this whole, I'm sure I did this. When your own testimony that you gave to Unsolved Mysteries basically said you thought. There is a fucking huge difference between I thought or I'm sure. Thinking and being sure can sway a goddamn jury.
Why would 5 people, 4 of whom, or 3 of whom, barely knew him, why would they lie in a court of law to protect him?
I would still like to know who this mysterious second witness is.
Back at the time, I leaned toward thinking that Michael Martin was guilty. And today, in retrospect, I simply don't know.
Well, it doesn't fucking matter now. It doesn't matter now. Michael Martin was convicted. He was serving his time in prison. You could literally come out the next day and go, well, I don't think he did it. It doesn't fucking matter. He's been convicted. It doesn't matter. He's been convicted.
I thought my 18-year-old witness was positive. But also, the witnesses who testified for Michael Martin were positive that they were with him at the time of the offense.
See, they don't even mention the second witness, the witness that said about during the holdup. Who the fuck is this second witness? Who is the second witness?
70 miles away. So it's one of those that I guess we'll never know the true answer to.
Michael still has 11 more years to serve in prison. The groundswell of doubt about his guilt has had no effect.
I've never stopped trying to prove my innocence because I don't know what else I have right now. It's prove my innocence or just sit here for 11 more years.
You know, I cannot imagine a worse death. He's not dead, but to me, this has to be like death. Literally, you are being forced to stay in a huge fucking concrete block, and you know that you didn't do it. You have 5 people. 2 of them were your friends. The other 3 were fucking strangers. They are all saying that you did not do it. But their testimony is being tossed out the goddamn window, and instead we're going to go with the testimony of one person who is too cowardly to even identify who they are. If this guy was so sure he did something right and that he protected people from Michael Martin, why is he needing to hide? Why is he needing to hide? You have the testimony of basically a stranger that claims that Michael Martin committed this crime. You have no evidence. I can imagine how Michael Martin would feel. That he, like I said, it feels like it would be a death sentence, knowing that you are in prison for a crime you did not commit. Like I said before, I acknowledge the fact that he committed that crime during the grocery store incident. I don't deny that at all. He did what he did. and he needed to pay for that. But regarding this case, no. Miscarriage of justice.
I can really appreciate what freedom is. Before I came here, it was a big abstract, you know. It was always there. When it's taken away, you really appreciate it. I want what I lost. What I feel I had taken from me.
Okay, here, I will read this to you. Let me do this. Michael Martin has been released from prison, but will remain on parole for the rest of his life. He's been released from prison. So he, not only did he get released from prison, but now he's still on parole for the rest of his life. It's like he's still being fucked with a razor-coated dildo, basically. Okay, I think it said something else. Okay. He is still determined to clear his name.
Next, a San Francisco teenager who strayed into a world of witchcraft, magic, and mysticism. His father believes he was murdered.
Okay, so that was the case of Michael Martin. Oh boy. Hot damn. I mean, this is a very, I really am interested in this case. I mean, out of a lot of the cases in season 1, this is one of the cases that really sticks out with me. Not because it's a ghost case or a UFO case or anything like that, but just based on the fact that we have such a lack of evidence in that robbery case. But anyway, let's go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki and see if there's been any sort of update besides what we were showed on the case. Now I'm just going to go to the last few bits of information. Extra notes. This case originally aired on the February 5th, 1988 special number 5 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. It was reprofiled in the Dennis Farina hosted series on August 14th, 2009. It was titled 60 Miles in reference to the distance between Lake Worth and Garland, Texas. Doyle appeared in silhouette for the broadcast, and his full name was not revealed. Why? If Doyle was so sure that he did something good, why do you need to hide? It's like people who wear masks. Why are you hiding your face? If you did nothing wrong, why are you hiding? According to the prosecutor, Brad Lolar, Michael's 5 witnesses all failed polygraph tests. That was not part of the show, so I cannot take that into any kind of consideration. I'm going based on what people said. Result. Unsolved. In 1999, Michael was released from prison after serving 20 years. However, he will remain on parole for the rest. Okay, and he still hopes to prove his innocence. That's literally all. I don't know what else to say, ladies and gentlemen. I just do not know what else to say. You have one camp that basically is the camp that Michael Martin is guilty. You have another camp that I'm in that believes that this guy is innocent. Ultimately, at the end of the day, a crime was committed. A gas station was held up. $400 was stolen. Of the person in question may or may not have committed the crime. There was no evidence. No evidence at all. You have one person making the claim that Michael Martin was a criminal. You have 5 people claiming that Michael Martin is innocent. But You are here to hear. You are here to hear about the case. You are here to hear what I have to think. Now, ultimately, I can't tell you what to think. I cannot tell you what to think. I can only give you the tools for for you to use, and you need to make that final decision. Is Michael Martin guilty and he deserved the 20 years that he served, or was he innocent and ultimately lost 20 years of his life? Ultimately, that's for you to decide. As you saw in the coming soon, or in the promo for the next case, basically we have unexplained death of Kurt McFall. This is another one of those kind of weird cases that kind of sticks out with me. But anyway, so let's get on with that case in the next video.